Hello, my spiritual rebels out there. I am woman. Uh, I am honored by your presence, and for my presence speaks for itself. Um, First and foremost, I would like to thank everyone for their donations. May this act of generosity be returned to you in blessings that are inconceivable by Mother Cosmos back to you. So thank you from the bottom of my heart, and you're welcome. So yeah, I had to take a pause and really dedicate today to address this aspect of myself that I'm about to tackle because it has revealed a lot. This is why it is very important as you step into your light, right, to speak truth, because in speaking truth, you are committing to growing up. And it's going to reveal very scary things about yourself, things that you've been participating in unconsciously. So today I want to address the responses when, if I think this is part 5 of the no more hiding, time to speak my truth phase of the awakening process. Um, so I want to address and, you know, tackle this aspect, a reflection of myself that is Cheska, you know. So here's her response. Let's read it first, let's address. Hello, Jan. I am writing this with love. I mean it. But it might still sting a little bit, or a lot. So buckle up. You're in for a harsh dose of reality. Click, buckled up. I firmly disagree with your portrayal of John and his mother. I cannot, in good conscience, stand idly by and let you denigrate them. The level of patience these two have exhibited throughout this whole ordeal is almost saint-like. Your lack of self-awareness is staggering. You have not once taken accountability for how you created the reality you are currently living in. You've shifted the blame onto everyone around you. I think it's time you retire this broken record of woe is me. The only real victim here is Anne. She has no choice in the matter and is at the mercy of her parents' decisions, some of which were made without proper regard for her well-being, but rather for selfish motives. An example will be John asking me to refrain from going through him to communicate with Anne after I had sent her a happy birthday message last year through text. That was my first and only time texting John to relay a message to Anne. Though I thought that was a spineless move on his part, he explained that he was reluctantly setting these boundaries in order to maintain the peace with you, as it had created friction between you and him. When he had informed you, I assured him I would respect his ask. I never contacted him since. Why would you want to cut Anne off from the people who love and affirm her? Now more than ever, Anne needs the people who genuinely love her to pour into her. Reading your emails about her emotional outburst has once again broken my heart into a million pieces. The emotional instability created in her will gnaw away at her confidence and might lead her to seek reassurances wherever she can get them. This is a path harder to undo than to prevent. You have led her to seek, you have You have the important role as a parent to do everything in your power to prevent your child from embarking on such a road. Why then would you cut her off from the people who love her so and would do anything to protect her? You have created your reality as we all do. No one held a gun to your head to marry John. It was your choice. When you found out he wasn't the right fit for you, it was your responsibility to leave. Your happiness is always your responsibility. It isn't his duty to change himself to fit your idea of what a perfect man should look like, so you can be happy. If he chooses to masturbate 100 times a day because that makes him happy, that is his right. Masturbating isn't a crime. You knew that about him when you chose to marry him, as per your email. Why then spend the entirety of your marriage complaining about him masturbating? If it was such a problem to you, why didn't you leave? There lies the real problem. Your inability to leave. Instead of addressing that head on, you mask the real problem, I'm sure, unconsciously, with all the things he was supposedly doing wrong that made you uncomfortable. You knew who he was when you married him. Trying to fix someone to fit your idea of who they should be never works. I'm sure you've learned your lesson. Your inability to leave is what needed to be addressed. If you were so unhappy in the marriage, and because that requires looking within and having to change ourselves, people often prefer, I'm sure unconsciously, to blame the other person for why they're miserable. But your happiness is always your responsibility. I hope this isn't news to you. If you are with someone whose actions don't serve you, you can choose to leave. Yes, it is that simple. The problem is people's lack of self-love, which makes them stay in situations that don't serve them. John couldn't leave because he lacked self-love, and you couldn't leave because you lacked self-love. End of story. Anybody with a healthy dose of self-love knows how to step away from any situation that doesn't serve them. Let's mark that point. Granted, it might take time to learn to love yourself fully, but my point here is that the focus should be on the real problem and not the distractions you've created to avoid taking a hard look at yourself. The problem is never the other person. We can always choose to walk away. And if we find it difficult to walk away, instead of blaming the other person, we should put all that energy in cultivating self-love, and that would give us the strength needed to walk away. I'm gonna skip this. There's a small portion here that's addressing something about a decision regarding Anne that I want to skip, and then we will address it at a later time because I want to focus on the process, you know. This is the last part. All this constant blaming has to stop. If you are truly looking to heal, the longer you blame, the longer your focus remains on the other person and not on you, where it should be. Blaming is another form of validation seeking. Your parents did the best they could given what they knew. You are also doing your best given what you know. And is building up a lot of resentment, which will inevitably come out at some point. I'm sure you would want her to know that you did the best you could, even though your best wasn't enough to make her whole. I hope you can extend to others that empathy you'd so desperately be hoping for with Anne sooner or later. So that was my sister Cheska's response. So you know, and you have to encourage that. You have to let and allow people to express themselves, you know, because in that process, you get to look at you, right? So my response was, thank you. Hi, Jessica. Thank you for your perspective, as it is only a reflection of yourself, right? Uh, and I left things there. So right after that response, right, uh, she called me 4 times, and she called on WhatsApp. I blocked her on WhatsApp, and I would go into this. Yeah, it's building up. So she called on WhatsApp, blocked. She tried to call me 4 times, blocked as well. So I received this message. She instead emailed me. I tried calling you. Hey Jen, I just tried calling you. I see you blocked my number on WhatsApp. Let me know if you'd rather be left alone. Thank you, Cheska. Hi, Cheska, my response. As you have clearly expressed your perspective, what else is there to say? You know? You see, that's when, you know, things start happening. You know, when boundaries are very important. And this is why I have been pushed to share my journey, because, you know, as you step out and you try to step into the best version of yourself, this type of noises will surface, okay? And I'm gonna get into it. So what else is there to say? So her response, I like to first say hi and then understand whether you will prefer not to be communicated with at all. So my response is, hi again. And as I stated earlier, as you have clearly expressed yourself, what else is there to say? You know, so before you open yourself up, you know, you have to make sure people state the intention, because these are the patterns trying to repeat themselves. And as you emerge out of the cocoon, you have been trained, you know who you are, you know, and you have to be careful who you are re-inviting, you know, in your inner world as a reflection, as a mirror, right? Because those energies have already announced themselves and you have confronted them, right? So you have to be careful. So as I responded that, I sent her the link to my YouTube account there. So she was not aware I was making these videos, right? So I sent it to her, and this is her response. I like to say sorry for the misunderstanding. I just clicked on the video you shared and you lost so much weight. It made me break down. I hope I can speak with you. So my response was just, Jessica, enough, you know. So it's like, yeah, this is it. You emerge out of the cocoon. People don't even recognize you. They don't recognize me. I change. You know, your body naturally metamorphoses. You know, I used to be a caterpillar. You know, so now I emerge. Everybody's like, whoa, who is that? You know, it's like they don't recognize the unicorn. It's the butterfly. It's like, ooh, is that you? You know. So and I shared, I will read the letter to my aunt as well. So I shared with them the letter to my aunt, which will be addressed later. And she continued coming, you know. So she replied, for someone who claims she wants peace and silence, you sure are making a lot of noise. Yeah. Did you know? Did you not get what you asked for the first time you asked for it? So I replied, again, Cheska, thank you for your perspective. She came back. Jen, there's nothing you could do that will take away the love I have for you. And I want you to start listening, right? This is when the people expose themselves, right? Absolutely nothing. I know your heart, and this is not who you are. These too shall pass. I will never abandon you, even if we don't speak, and I am always here, always. The Jen I know is all about love. I love you. I will always love you. If I have to pray every day until you find yourself again, I will do just that. You see, in this message, energetically, for those of you, who are going to be faced with this, basically, let me show you this energy. I know your heart and it's not who you are, right? So they are challenging this version of yourself. They're holding on to the old version of you, right? And they want to affirm that whoever you're stepping out as is not who you are. Something is wrong with you, right? And they use love, right? I love you. I will never abandon you. And yet, as I am stepping out in my truth, they are challenging it. She's challenging it, saying, this is not my heart. Who are you to claim my inner world, what my heart, what my truth is? Who are you? You see, this is how you've been binding yourself to your family, right? Because family, the blood connection is your karma. I see people going in their old, their past life, going into, it's happening here, right? In your DNA. This is the karmic energy that you were born into, that you inherited, that your soul has decided it needs expansion on. So it is for you, as you inherit those energies, to overcome and to confront them, right? This is basically what it is. The Jen I know is all about love, right? So basically, this person is, this aspect of myself is challenging, me, and telling me that I am not a love entity, right? So it is up to you. This is how the cosmos reintroduces your old version to see if you have truly outgrown it, right? So it falls. I used to participate and get triggered by these things. As soon as you get defensive, right? It shows that you still need to work on certain things and validate yourself, that you do not know how to protect yourself. So I responded. Again, thank you for your perspective, for you are only talking about yourself. You see how she introduced herself, right? She is not connected with her heart. This is all the person is saying. She's just talking about herself, I know your heart and this is not who you are. She's not connected to her heart, and then he continued, Jen, I am so sorry for the pain you are carrying. The projections, all the person is saying is that they're carrying a lot of pain. So don't react, don't participate, don't defend, because that will bind you to that frequency. So sorry. I'm so sorry for the pain you are carrying. So sorry. I apologize for any pain I caused you. It was never my intention. Hi, Cheska. That's my response. Thank you again for your perspective, as it is only a reflection of you. For there is no pain being carried on my end. Smiley face. All the best, Jen. All right. So this phase has passed, and I want to bring up. I'm going to take a little pause here and bring up throughout what has pushed me throughout this transition in setting up boundaries with my sister Cheska, which is just a reflection of myself, right? So after I was confronted the prior year, the holidays came, and during the holidays, as I was navigating my career, there was a tough position where I found myself in a very interesting financial position, which I will expand on it later because John was involved, right? Again, John, So it's like my family has, Mother Cosmos used my family to really made me look at things about myself that I refuse to observe, right? So I found myself having COVID in December, right? And it was just a way afterwards, right? It was just a way of Mother Cosmos cloaking me, right? Because I am in a position of weakness and vulnerability, so there's nothing for me to do. And that's where you also have to observe in which state of mind you are in when certain aspect of yourself introduce themselves, right? If you are feeling great and you are in a great state of mind, how they introduce and how they treat you. It's very important. So you have to be aware from a detached perspective. So at the end of the year, I found myself having COVID, right? And I was drained. I missed the whole week of work, and it was giving me anxiety because the last week of the year at my old company, we shut down for business, right? And being an accountant, end of year is a very hectic period, right? And finding myself for the last 2 weeks of the 3 weeks of the year, I couldn't get up out of bed, right? And being a single mom and added up to that because I could barely care for Anne. So it is in that state of mind that I was in when Cheska gave me a call, right? She gave me a call. She was like, "Hey, Jen, how you doing?" I was like, I didn't pick up first of all, and then she called again. So I picked up and I was like, "Cheska, now is not a good time. I'm not feeling well. I have been in bed all day, uh, and I haven't been to work for a week." So she was like, "Oh, I was planning to come to New York and spend a few days with you. I just need a change of scenery. Kali is going to Switzerland." And I was like, "Oh, I didn't know that." Uh, and she advised me to reach out to you to see if I can come and visit. And I was like, "No, you cannot come and visit. It's not a good time. I just want to shut down and sleep. Because when I get sick, I usually sense it ahead of time and I'll just shut down and I'll wake up healed the next day. But somehow, throughout this period, having COVID, it's been a week. This has never happened to me before. Never. I have never been sick over a week. So I started worried. It's like, so Christmas being a few days away, I was starting to get concerned because I had Anne for Christmas, and then she was gonna go to Florida with her dad John for a few days, and then I'll have her again for the New Year's. So I was trying to sleep and heal myself, but it just was not going away because I found myself in a very difficult financial situation and not having anyone. I didn't know how to get out of it, and the stress I was surrounding myself with was being expressed in my me being sick, right? So I was trying to shut down and heal myself. So the next day she called back, right? And she was like, "Are you feeling better?" And I was shocked by this answer, and I was like, "You just spoke to me yesterday." Yeah, because I usually don't get sick that long, so for them it's like it's a surprise. And I was like, "No, I think I have COVID, and I just want to be left alone." What She was like, "Oh, but I was really trying and hoping to come to New York." And that's when I said, "What is going on?" And that is when she expressed that she just broke up with her boyfriend. They've been dating for a few years. She broke up with her boyfriend and she's going through a tough emotional situation, and she just needs a place. She just needs a change of scenario, so she can recharge. And I expressed, "I'm not feeling well. I think I have COVID. I don't want to pass you anything." And she expressed, "It's not a big deal. I don't mind. I'll come anyway." So I was like, okay. fine, come, you know. So she came and she was working from home, but then her job realized that she traveled without notifying them, and they told her you cannot work outside of the country for insurance purposes and stuff. So she stopped working. So basically, she was on vacation. And as she came, she went to hang out with her friends in the city because, she has friends here, and started feeling better, and watched me because, I had to pick Anne up from school, and I could barely, I would do 1 hour of work because it's end of year. As an accountant, it's like there are things that I have to deal with and nobody can deal with it. And being in a difficult financial situation then, right? I had to make sure that my the company I work for understood that I value and was grateful for this opportunity, right? So I would work for 30 minutes and then black out in the bedroom, and then will try to amass all my effort to go drive and pick Anne up. And I felt bad because I couldn't even be there for Anne, right? And Christmas was coming and I just could not heal. It was getting worse. I would have a wave of energy and then just black out, and all Anne was doing, was being on her iPad. And Cheska will go hang out with her friend, come back and just sleep and eat. I would make dinner, she will eat. So it's like, and I understand, because if you don't have kids, you cannot empathize. She could not understand. Anne will approach her so they can play, but she'll just sleep. She will turn around and cover her head. So this was weighing more and more on me. So as Christmas approached, I had only $100 in my account. I'm gonna be honest, okay? This is about authenticity, okay? We have to say the truth. But I only had $100 that I was organizing. I bought present for Anne, so I was nearing, things were a little tight then. So I was planning to pay my electricity bill with that $100. But as Cheska came, right, and I had on Christmas Day, the plan was with John, we celebrated all of it together at that stage. We did everything because I wanted Anne, to still see that even though we were divorced, we were still a family and we were working together, until things started exposing themselves with John. All right. So I approached Cheska and told her, so on Christmas Day, we are going to watch a show in Manhattan. And I don't want to leave you out. Are you still going to be around? And she was like, yeah, I'm going to be here. So I was like, okay, I'm going to buy you the ticket, but it's non-refundable. And if you don't want to come, I would rather not buy it, because I'd rather put that money towards the electricity bill. And she was like, no, I will come. I want to spend time. We are a family. Let's enjoy ourselves together. And I was like, are you sure? Because that's all I had, right? So she was like, yeah, I'm not leaving. I'm not going back to Canada then, so it's going to be fine, Jen. I'm going to be there. So I bought the ticket, right? And as we were spending time together at a point, and spend a day, we alternated days. So she was at John's and I was able to sleep. I was still sick, right? And Cheska was around, and I was like, so what happened with your boyfriend? It is then, that she exposed that her boyfriend was, fucking around, blah, blah, blah. And so she decided also to fuck around on him. And as she confronted him about it, he took her phone and confronted her, and he got exposed because he told her, let me see your phone. And he discovered that she was chatting with other men and doing things with other men, and she felt exposed, and he broke up with her, right? So as he saw that she was cheating on him, he broke up with her, and out of shame, you know, and embarrassment, she ran away from Montreal and came here to hide. So as that got exposed energetically, right, and she only shared this thing with me because she was under the impression that, I cheated on John during my marriage. So that mask came off, right? She felt comfortable just exposing this about herself. So as that got exposed energetically and things kept adding on for me, I just couldn't heal. And I was like, I see. So I am enabling her, you know, uh, 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 to run away from facing herself. And as I was being confronted with my own environment, instead of focusing on healing myself, I am taking on more and trying to enable my sibling. And this, in spirituality, is what we call having an empty cup. If your cup is empty, okay, you cannot step in and help anybody else, right? So as I observed that, right, I expressed to her, you've been here for 5 days. Tomorrow is Christmas. That will be the 5th day, right? And as I picked Anne up from school that day, I was so drained. I could barely walk. And I came home, made dinner for her. She has not helped me in the 5 days. She has not lifted one finger to help me make dinner or even help with Anne. All she was doing is hanging out, partying in the city, which is fine. Came, slept, and that was it. And it's great because I saw how she recharged, and she even slept over. She met someone else. She slept over at their place, one of these days. And they connected. She was recharged. She was happy. And I could barely walk. so I was like, okay, Cheska, it's been 5 days. You recharge. Are you happy? She was like, yeah, I'm feeling great. I'm happy. Everything is great and working out. I'm like, okay, I am not feeling great. Okay. So you've been here for 5 days. You have obviously recharged. So how about tomorrow after Christmas, because Anne and John will be leaving for Christmas was on a Friday. So I said, Anne and John will be leaving first thing Saturday morning to go to Florida. How about you as well return home on that Saturday? So that way I have a couple of days before Anne comes back, because I have her as well for New Year's. That way I can just heal myself energetically and be ready for her, because I felt so much guilt. Like throughout the whole Christmas break, I was not there for my daughter. I could not, she was on her iPad the whole time, while I was under the blankets. So there was a lot of guilt, and it was keeping me even sicker. So I made